Welcome back, Fate of the Game viewers, to another edition of Vocal Co-op with me, your host, Dalton Miller, and my illustrious co-host, Jed Pressgrove.
How's it going, guys?
Today we're going to be talking about a topic that is always a touchy subject with gamers and casual fans alike. I think it's going to be very informative, and you're probably going to see some kind of difference in opinion between Jed and myself, so it should be very interesting. And that topic is, should you buy a console at launch? Jed? Should you buy a console at launch? Is it a good idea?
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and say no, it's not a good idea to buy a console at launch. Now, before I go into my reasoning, first of all, I do understand that people get very excited about new consoles, and it's almost like, I've got to have this, I've got to play it now as soon as I can.
Exactly. It's shiny and new.
I can understand that. I mean, when the Wii U came out, for example, I kind of had that feeling deep down inside somewhere, but I didn't act on it, and here's why. And it's just I really think it's just simple economics,
right? And
that is most of the time, actually, I don't even buy consoles within a year of their launch.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I wait longer because I know the price is going to come down.
As a consumer.
Yeah, absolutely. And also another thing too is, a lot of the games that come out on launch, you do have some strong titles, but a lot of times it's just not enough. You might have 2 or 3 titles that you could say, okay, this justifies my purchase. But then thinking long term, you want a few more games to play, so you just kind of wait on reviews and wait on releases and that sort of thing.
Well, I think specifically why that topic comes to your mind is on Nintendo, who you're a big fan of. Everybody knows it. No reason to hide it. Nintendo 64 kind of was Nintendo's first console to release that kind of had a scant library, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember it had Super Mario 64 and Pilot Wing 64 available where I was living, at the time when it came out.
So yeah, I mean...
And the games were, what, $70, $80?
$75, I think is what I paid. The first game I got with mine was Shadows of the Empire. I got it, I think, a month and a half for Christmas, after the release of the console itself. And of course, Nintendo is... I don't remember what exactly the Wii had at launch. I know they had Twilight Princess, which is totally, but there'll be an argument, of course, against that it was also a GameCube game in development originally and was then ported to the Wii console.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we get into current times. Do you think the Wii U, especially right now, is a cautionary tale for customers and gamers?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I also think it's a cautionary tale for game developers and game console creators and that sort of thing. I mean,
right.
Nintendo, I think they were just really banking on the fact that the Wii was so popular, and they just thought that automatically people would hear Wii U and go, oh yeah, I've got to have that now. It just doesn't work like that. But coming back to the consumer perspective, my perspective, I'm really glad that I didn't buy the Wii U at launch, and I'm still glad that I didn't buy it. And like right now, I'm glad I don't have it now. That's what I'm trying to say.
I almost bought one after E3. I literally was in the store with my wallet ready, and it's something I was like, I should probably just hold off. Like, there's really, besides Monster Hunter 3, what am I going to play on this?
At this point, okay, I'll be honest with you. The library could be bigger, but that's not even really the biggest, I guess, setback for me, or I guess not setback, but the largest negative or whatever. It's not really a drawback because, I'd like to play Zombie U, Monster Hunter 3. That's kind of intriguing. It's like the ultimate version or whatever. And then, of course, I believe the Deus Ex Human Revolution remake. Well, not remake, but it's like a a lot of people complained about the boss battles being outsourced in the game. They did, so it just fixes it fixes certain things.
Yeah.
So that's
I would want to play that.
Yeah, I definitely want to play that. And the Lego City Undercover game, that looks like it would be a lot of fun.
Right.
And there's probably 1 or 2 other games that I'm forgetting about right now that's already available or might soon become available. Or supposedly. So, but the main thing is the price. I mean, it really hasn't had that price drop yet. And the thing that's troubling about that right now is, okay, the deluxe console for the Wii U, it has 32 gigabytes of space. Okay, so we know that the PlayStation 4 is going to have a lot more space for $400. And that's just a few months away. And I'm not trying to say that they're going to play the same type of games. Obviously, when you get a Nintendo console, you're playing it for Nintendo games, but still, it's the principle of the thing. And it just doesn't make much sense for me not to wait for a little bit longer until that price drops. That way I don't have any cognitive dissonance about buying a system that only has 32 gigabytes of hard drive space. Because more and more, I'm starting to download games.
Yeah, and I mean, arguably, it's definitely going that way. I posted an article a couple days ago about DRM and why that it will be a fact of your life eventually. Even though, Xbox One, it didn't work out for them. Just for the simple fact that games will go digital. Retail in every other field of media has failed. It's Blu-ray's hanging on by a thread at this point, just because of the sheer fidelity you get from it. You can't get that in a digital file that's manageable at this point. But music, and DVD sales, books, comic books, even. We had a comic book store for a long time here in our town and didn't make it. As soon as the iPad had been out for about 2 years and comics got really big to download, I couldn't nobody wanted paper comics. Even me, I got rid of all my DVDs. I have Blu-rays, and stuff now, but still because of that same fact. But all my DVDs, I converted over to digital format and put it on a media server because all that stuff is clutter to me at this point. I fully, since I got back into PC game real big about 2 years ago, I really embraced that, my black box with all my shit, like all of it's in there. That level of ease and utility that brings to any media is very freeing. And maybe you don't have the opportunity to sell it back anymore, and that's a big issue to a lot of people. I know I try not to buy used games. I haven't bought one in quite a while, but just because I like to support developers if I can, if I know their product is good and that I will like it. And it's a lot of times what you're gonna like beforehand. Let's be honest. If a game's just not totally busted and you get it day one, you've seen enough and you've heard enough experts, professionals play it and talk about it that you probably know whether you're going to be down with it or not, right? As far as the mechanics, at least,
for the most part. And just to move this forward to the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4,
which is what we're really talking about here.
Okay, so we're talking about games that we pretty much know we're going to enjoy before we even play them. Okay, well, one such game for me is The Witcher 3. Now, I could put that on my computer. I could get it for the computer. However, I don't really want to do that with my computer. It's an all-in-one PC. I have it for the convenience of not having a lot of cords, and it's just a great family computer.
Right.
It's not a gaming computer, though, and I have no interest in spending more of my money on a gaming computer. But I want to play that game. So what do I get, the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One? Well, right now, I'm leaning toward the PlayStation 4 because of the lower price and because of, Microsoft's wishy-washiness and everything.
Yeah.
However, that doesn't mean that I'm going to buy either console before the end of this year or even next year. I might just wait until The Witcher 3 actually comes out and then make my decision then.
Yeah.
And by that time, both consoles will have had, a little bit of life, and then I can see where they're going.
Right. And not only games play into this. Online services, for one, for sure. That's a big point of contention always. We can't tell. We can't predict. Nobody's seen it. Nobody's used Xbox Live for Xbox One or PSN for PS4. So we can't say right now whether one of those would be good. The only thing that's going to happen is people are going to have to use it. It's going to have to get to a point where there's a server load on them to see how they react for us to really know and understand what those are going to be like. And that's something you can't put a number on until it's been out in the wild a while.
And another thing that you can't predict is the failure rate.
I was about to say the hardware itself. Yeah.
Because we've seen those problems a lot in the last 10 years.
Well, yeah.
PlayStation 2 and then Xbox 360.
You're right.
For whatever reason, Nintendo, they're just, they're dead set on making it to where you can throw their systems out of a building and they're still going to play.
That Wii is a solid object.
But there are still questions about Microsoft and Sony on that issue.
Yeah.
Now you would think that they, maybe they've learned some lessons, but something else could pop up that they just didn't foresee. So it's not necessarily that they're totally incompetent or anything like that. But yeah, as a consumer, it might be the best thing just to wait and see what the failure rate is.
I mean, I think I totally agree with you. I mean, I take it from somebody who had to have their Xbox repaired 3 times. Then finally, I just had to take that thing out back and put a bullet in its brain because it sounded like a fucking airplane taking off every time I turned it on and picked up a Slim. You just never know how this hardware is going to perform over time. Xbox One in its final form of hardware and PS4 probably just got to that point now to where they're starting to manufacture it, and there is a final format. So has it been tested in a long run? No, not at all. And that's something, again, we won't know until some time's passed. Mm-hmm. Another big driver for whether you should pick up a new console at launch or not is just seeing what your friends are going to get. And that's a conversation that everybody's going to have. Absolutely. Because that sense of community, of being able to talk about games outside of playing the games themselves, and of course being able to talk about games while you're playing games and playing the games with each other. Yeah. That is a big part of a new console experience or console experience in general. So, those are kind of things, those are intangibles that you're going to have to take into account. There's really no right answer where you can just say, here's the one clear cut for me out of the box based on the specs. That just doesn't exist. Everybody has variables. Everybody has price restrictions as far as what they can afford. Everybody has wants and needs. And not each one of these consoles that are going to be out here in the next few months are going to meet all those. So for everyone. And that's why competition's always good as far as consoles are concerned, because, competition, it only benefits us as consumers and as writers, because it gives us first good shit to write about when these companies go at each other. And secondly, it definitely impacts gamers directly because they're the ones who benefit from the sales from each company trying to undercut each other, and benefit from, us trying to say we can do this thing that they can, and we're going to do this thing that they can't, and bringing those features directly to you as a point of contention between each other. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, that's kind of like, part of the American dream. Yeah. Things are going to continue to improve and innovate.
Free market, right?
Yeah, free market. As long as people are just trying whatever they can and there's that competition, we have the assumption that things are going to benefit us, the consumer. But yeah, and just, getting back to the failure rate thing, okay? That's a really big deal, and it's tied into something that you mentioned earlier, DRM, and this whole digital versus physical thing, okay? Now, you also recently wrote an article about DRM, and the article was called, Has Microsoft Set Back Console Gaming by 5 Years?
Right.
And you just throw out that 5 years there. That's just like, what's in your head, basically. So, hey, maybe you can respond to that first. The 5 years thing. Is that like a prediction? Or if they had continued to go in that direction, or if all the systems had chosen that direction, would that be your prediction?
Is this our second segment now?
Yeah, I guess so. I just thought it was a great time to throw it in there and, just to keep it unpredictable.
Okay. Well, basically we had talked about this last week, ladies and gentlemen, where we had a segment we didn't call it anything, but where I put Jed on the spot about an article that he wrote out of nowhere, which Jed just did to me also. And we had talked about including that maybe in the show's format from now on, which obviously I think we're going to do.
Yeah, but he had a lead up for this, but I decided to just totally go past that. Just don't let him do that. Catch him off guard. This is payback, but it's also great for you to watch. So
right. So in the second segment and first official title, when I'm on the spot, I'll defend that idea. Okay, for me, first off, like I said, coming from my position, physical media is not something that I just have to have anymore. I used to enjoy collecting it and stacking that stuff up 10 miles high to show my gamer cock, if you will.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Here's my cred. I've played all these, but I got to a certain point where, I would rather have more space, and I would rather have, the ease of access of, let's face it, humans by nature are pretty lazy. At least I am myself. I can't say the same for everybody else. As far when it comes to when I get home and I'm ready for my entertainment, being able to turn a device on from the couch, go right to what I want to go to, look through my list there digitally of games, bam, I'm there. I'm ready for it.
So you don't even have to get up.
I don't have to get up. I don't have to
go through all your
boxes.
cases. Yeah.
I don't have to do anything. I don't have to
put it in
disc.
anything.
Yeah. Maybe did I loan this to somebody? I don't remember. I really want to play it right now. But anyway.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of point where I am personally. So this article to me was kind of an extension of that. And not only that, but my thoughts on Microsoft's DRM policies, kind of rolled into it. Microsoft was still, in my opinion, was going in the right direction. I think if they had played their hand more positively, if they had come out and they had said, this is what's going to happen. If you buy a game digitally, $10 cheaper automatically. Every game, day one release, $10 cheaper on Xbox Live.
So basically what this implies, like this viewpoint, is that if they had just had a little bit more forethought about what people's reactions might be and then thought of business strategiges,
well, yeah, if they had learned the lessons that Steam has aptly laid out for them, essentially, because I mentioned Steam in the article prevalently, that they have the right formula. The Steam sale started today. For the summertime sale, and I'm stoked. As soon as we get done with this, I'm about to buy some shit.
Yeah, and you can check out an article that Thomas Chambers of FateOfTheGame.com just posted today.
I'm no longer the plug man either.
I'm trying to get better at plugging. Okay.
No, but he's right. He's got our top deals on there for the day. What we think is worth your money right now. But in saying that, Steam it was a long road for them as well. People hated it first, but they figured out that as long as we stay out of gamers' way and we're unintrusive and we offer those price cuts for a digital copy, knowing that they can't sell it back or trade it or do anything like that, then I think that, that'll work out. And it has for them. Totally. Most PC gamers will sing Steam's praises all day long and throw it in your face if you're a console gamer. 100%. So I think if Microsoft had taken that approach right off the bat, if they had said, look, that's what we want to be. We want to be a digital distributor first, and we want to be a retail distributor for those of our install base and for those of our fans who aren't quite able or ready for that new digital future. So if they'd taken that approach, I think 100%, you would have seen a lot different feedback from fans, and it's really a terrible thing. And just from the title of my article, why I think it set back console gaming 5 years. Like I said before, 5 years was just a number. But it's, if anything, if PlayStation even Nintendo now has gotten on the eShop train. They really started supporting that outlet. If PlayStation 4 and Xbox had gone down that digital road, we would have gotten to that point a lot faster. Where on Steam, most time when I buy a game, if it's not something that has come out in the last 4 or 5 months, I get all the DLC with it. It's the full package, and it's discounted and everything like that. So, we could have gotten to that point, I think, a lot quicker. And we're still going to get there. It's just going to take a little bit longer than I would have liked.
So it sounds like you're just, a lot of this, you're looking at just the deals that you and other people could get if it continues to go down this road. Like through with the Steam model as like an example. Now, here's something that goes back to what we were talking about earlier about, maybe not buying a console at launch. And it's about the failure rate. Okay, so this issue will come up. And I'd like to compare it to a real life situation. I'll tell you a day that sticks out to me while I was at my job. I remember I would always get my check every 2 weeks, my physical check. And you know what? I liked getting it in my hand, and I liked going to the bank and giving it to the person and knowing that person just put it into my account. Okay? But then they forced us all to go to direct deposit. And, I'll be honest, it kind of pissed me off because I felt like I should have the choice. Now,
exactly. That's the reason it pissed you off, because it took the choice away.
Yeah. So, but see, it's not a perfect parallel or anything.
Yeah. Okay.
But to use that as a frame and then get back to what we're talking about. Okay, so some people might say, okay, well, it's great that we might be going toward the digital world or whatever, but what if I get this console and then, there's just something wrong with it that the developers just couldn't see, these things are predisposed to fail 6 months ahead of time, and I mean after you buy it. And
the console itself?
Yeah, the console, just, another red ring situation.
And then
you've already downloaded. So what do you think? How do you think that, Microsoft or any company could handle that situation?
Well, we're going to talk about two things here. We're going to talk about how Steam does it, which is the right way.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about how Nintendo does it, which is the totally fucked up way. Steam, everything is synced to your account at all times. If that computer dies on me tomorrow, all my games, all my saves, and I chose to back everything up on Steam Cloud. That's a choice. You don't have to do that. You can keep all your save games locally, or you can back it up. So all my save games, as soon as I got a new PC in here or fixed the one that just broke, put in a new hard drive or whatever, I click on Steam, download the app, log in, click sync, and download all my games again. I'm right back to where I started. All my stuff I paid for is there. It's all synchronous across systems. Now, Nintendo, on the other hand, their download DRM right now is locked to the system itself. One of the other writers at fanofthegame.com, Tyler Stewart, just bought a shiny new 3DS. So I'm going to use that as an example. If Tyler was, say, on the subway and he accidentally had a bad day, maybe he wasn't thinking, he was playing something, and he set his 3DS down, all his games are gone. If he buys another 3DS, he's got to call Nintendo, get them to reopen those downloads under his shop name and allow him to download them again. And there's multiple instances of this on the internet that you can look up from various game writers.
Yeah, that's true.
It is not an easy situation.
It's not a good situation to be in at all.
No.
No.
And so if Xbox, I have to think, because of Xbox Live being the strong system as far as like your gamer score, your account, everything's in sync. You can still log into your name on my box and my name on your box and that kind of thing. We have access to all of our stuff. I have to think they would have gone the way Steam did, and that's have everything in a digital space, even your account information, your purchases, all that stuff.
And what's interesting about the Nintendo example, and of course I agree with you, I really wish that I could just download the game again if my system failed, but it's interesting to use the example of just being on the subway and then just leaving it behind, because that's pretty much what you would have to do for that son of a bitch to basically for you not to have access to the games. Because that's one thing you can say is that
they're dependable systems.
Yeah, dependable systems. But still, in the back of my mind, there's that little possibility that something could happen, and lightning could strike it. I mean, that's unlikely, but it could happen.
It's a possibility.
Assuming that I don't unplug it, which I may not. So. There's always that little possibility, and I agree that, the Nintendo side of it is kind of screwed up. But anyway, I think that we can let, Dalton off the hook now. I think he was on the spot for a good bit of time, and, it was an interesting, way of going about it, I think. Not letting you get your little lead in.
To give me time to prepare. I didn't know what he was going to ask me of of the stuff I wrote this week, so. That's kind of like our hook for this is that, we don't have any idea and we're going to take turns. So,
but not to get too, metatextual now. We're going to wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
So.
And just in closing on the first subject, and I guess the overall conversation as well, be a savvy consumer. Do your research. Learn everything you can. Maybe wait a week. Is it really that? Even if you got your pre-order in, you don't have to pick it up day one. Maybe wait a week if you just can't wait that much. See what happens. Be responsible for your money. Because these companies, they, over and over you hear how they care about you and this company cares about me more, and they don't care about you. They care about your money. And the segue to that is providing you with good entertainment and a quality system, right? And a quality ecosystem. So if they bring that, then wholeheartedly I say, give it to them and enjoy yourself. Because that's what gaming is all about. It's all about entertainment.
But hey, if you're just a really big fanboy, then hey, you can disregard everything we just said. It's your choice.
Yeah, it is your money.
And I'm not saying anything against you for that, because hey, there's a part of me that's like that. I want to get that thing, right at launch, and then say, hey, man, this thing is great, or whatever. But
Yep. So, do your due diligence, people. That's all I got to say. I'm Dalton Miller, at Tales of Dalton on Twitter. This is
I'm Jed Pressgrove, and I am Jed Press Fate on Twitter. And I'm still the egg or whatever, right? I haven't
put a picture up yet.
Yeah, I haven't put a picture up. I haven't followed anyone, but I do have a couple of followers, Dalton and some other guy that I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think I know him anyway. I don't want to offend him.
They read your stuff. So,
So
follow us on Twitter if you want to hear what we're talking about on a daily basis. It's usually a bunch of bullcrap related to video games. So, stay tuned for the next episode of Vocal Co-op. I know we promised we were going to do a Guardian Heroes co-op review this time. Our current writing schedule on the site hasn't allowed for us to play as much of that together as we would like, and to be fair to the game itself. So we're going to plan on doing that next time, and we promise we're going to get on it. So until next time, stay tuned to FadeTheGame.com for more.
Take it easy, guys.